Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting of the North Little Rock Planning Commission to order, please. If you will, please call the roll.
Banks.
Present.
Velasco.
Here.
Chambers. Foster.
Here.
Phillips. Wallace.
Here.
White. Chairman Clifton.
Here. Thank you. We are all present today. Under administrative, we have two items. One has been postponed and one is withdrawn. Item number 2 is the North Argenta Addition Building replat of 3 residential lots has been postponed. And item number 9 has been withdrawn, a special use to allow a daycare center in a C2 and a C3 zone at 4210 East Broadway. If anyone is here for either one of those items, they will not be heard today. With that, you have been submitted a copy of the minutes of our previous meetings. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, they be approved as submitted. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. We will move right into our Planning Commission items. Item number 1 is subdivision. Mr. Don Chambers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Development Review Committee met and considered item SD 2022-35 White Oak Crossing Commercial Park, Lot 2, site plan review, revised site plan for mini warehouse development at A701 Kim Drive. Applicant was present, agreed to items 1 through 13 in subsections, and the Development Review Committee recommends approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, be approved as submitted. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Are there any comments from any of the commissioners? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Item 2, SD 2022-36 is postponed. And item 3 is Planning Commission, item SD 22-37, Loomis Addition, Lot 1R, replat and site plan review of a replat of 4 lots into 2 lots and site plan review for an office building with warehouse space at 110 South Beach Street. The applicant was present, agreed to items 1 through 13 in subsections, and the Development Review Committee recommends approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. This item be approved as submitted. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Any comments from any of the commissioners? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
That concludes the Development Review portion.
Thank you, Mr. Chambers. Our next item is rezone case number 2022-16 and conditional use 22-09, a rezoning from R4 to C4 and a conditional use to allow warehousing within a C4 zone at 200 North Cedar Street in North Little Rock. Is the applicant here? Yes. Is there anything you'd like to say on this application? Okay. Is there any comments from anyone in the audience on this application? Any comments from any of the commissioners? Mr. Free, there was a question brought up about the 11,000 foot and the sprinkler. Do you have a comment for us on that?
He may need to be at the microphone so we can get this for the minute.
Yes, please come up to the microphone, Mr. Free, and give us your name and say again, repeat again. And then excuse me just a minute, then we'll hear from you, please, sir.
Okay, my name is Eli Kojakado.
Hold on just a second.
Dustin Free, Assistant Fire Marshal. My question was I was asked about the 11,000 square foot requirement, whether it need to be sprinklered or not. The answer to that, it just depends on what it's being used for. So do you know what the purpose of the?
They're storing files and different. It's a commercial realty group. They have signs and such in there.
Okay. So with that being said, it won't require a sprinkler system. The cutoff is 12,000 square feet.
Okay, very good. Any other comments from any of the commissioners? On the application, please call the roll.
Banks,
Yes.
Belasco,
Yes.
Chambers,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Wallace,
Yes.
White, Chairman Clifton.
Yes, your application did pass. See Mr. Spencer, and he can tell you where to go next. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, let me ask Sean a question. Back on the previous item there, I guess when the applicant applies for a business license, at that point, he'll disclose what it's going to be used for and stored, and then it kind of goes back to free. In other words, kind of a checks and balances. Is that the way that would
Yeah,
work?
and if it's not caught at that time, they do a yearly inspection and
Yes.
would catch it then.
Okay.
But we normally catch it like right now. I
Yes.
mean, most things come through here and most building projects, the fire marshal signs off on.
Right.
So there's usually a catch-all some point here or in the next step that we'll catch everything.
Because I know things change, you know, in the environment we're living in now, so I was just saying, that'd be a good, I just want to make sure things got caught, you know,
Yes.
as the process goes on. Okay, thank you. Excuse me.
Okay, thank you. Item number 5, rezone 2022-17, a rezoning from R2 to a PUD to allow a manufactured home to remain on the property located at 7001 Faulkner Lake Road. Is the applicant here today?
Yes, he's here.
Yes, please come up and give us your name, please.
Delano Davis.
Thank you. This has been before the commission and before Design Review Committee. Has all the things been done that
So-
has been required of him?
About 3 years ago, he came before us for a special use to do a mobile home while he built his house. So normally, we don't do special uses for a livable structure, but since it was temporary, we went ahead and did it that time. And so there was a 2-year, was it 2-year limit? Three-year limit to have it removed. So in that point, in that 3 years, he decided to do improvements to the manufactured home, and, you know, make it look like a stick-built house. And the neighbors had turned him in, so we about 2 months, maybe 3 months ago, had to come through and revoke the special use to get to this point here. So first, we had to revoke it, city council had to revoke it, so he can come back in and apply for a rezoning. So he's followed the process and, you know, done notice and everything, and that's where we are now. So we're at he's following the process step by step the correct way.
In your
Well,
opinion,
it's
does it look
been-
like a stick-built home?
He's got, were there pictures?
I saw the pictures.
Yeah, he's got some pictures there, but it's, it looks like a stick-built home.
Yeah, he showed them.
My
pictures.
understanding that you have gone and did all the
I've showed
requirements
those
of
to us a couple
HUD.
times ago, yeah.
Mr. Davis? Yes, sir. Is it my understanding that you've gone through and did all the requirements of HUD to make this into an allowable stick-built house?
Yes, sir.
You've done all that?
Yes.
Will he need to get all that checked before he can get his permit to live there? What's-
He's already living there, so it's really, we're just going through the process so he can, you know, officially live there. I mean, no, we're not trying to make him move or anything.
Okay.
But yeah, he's gone through, it's in the county, so we don't really go out and do inspections, but from what we've seen and not the health department, but the assessor or somebody, the assessor came out and did an inspection and, you know, approved it.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Any comments from any of the commissioners? Mr. White?
So let me ask you a question, you know, and this may be a city attorney, is this legal or not legal?
At the moment, it's not.
Okay.
We're trying to make it legal, so his paperwork and everything is correct.
But is this gonna set up something in the future where people buy the manufactured homes and skirt them and?
We've done, in the last 15 years, maybe 4 or 5 of them like this, where they've, you know, met all the requirements and everything, but, you know, was wanting to live in a double wide instead of a stick-built house.
Right.
And it looks like a stick-built house.
Okay, I'm just curious, make sure.
Yeah, they're going through the right process and doing everything right.
Ms. Belasco?
I know this because of my job. The assessor's office has a guideline, very strict guideline when they do something like this. And if they've approved it, it is now considered a home, an improvements, appurtenance, whatever, to the land. It's no longer taxed separately, it's taxed as a home.
Thank you.
And they're very stringent with their rules. So if he's been approved, then he's met all their criteria.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments on the application? Please call the roll.
Banks,
Yes.
Belasco,
Yes.
Chambers,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Phillips, Wallace,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Chairman Clifton.
Yes, your application did pass. See Mr. Spencer, and he can tell you where to go next. Thank you.
Perseverance paid off.
Our next case is rezone case 2022-18, rezoning from I-1 to I-2 to allow a gravelled parking area and outdoor laydown yard at 9401 Diamond Drive. Is the applicant here? Come up, please, and tell us what you're trying to do and give us a little bit of history on what you've got going. Mr. White?
And tell me what a laydown yard is, because I have no earthly idea.
Okay, that's what he's gonna tell
I
us.
used to do that as a kid, but I don't think that's the same thing.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. My name is Connor Sutton. I'm with Colliers, Arkansas. So there's Central Commerce Center in Galloway. It was rezoned about this time last year from I-1 to I-2. And this development, we're just looking for room to be able to expand it and have the option to include additional trailer parking. It's essentially all that it is.
Okay.
Is, what you're asking for now, is this going to be on a permanent basis? Or will it be on a basis that will be removed and improved once your building gets built?
So the building is built currently. These are just proposed improvements. In the future, they'll be a permanent emplacement, I guess you could say.
We'll have to come back through site plan review for the parking lot.
Okay.
But we're getting permission to do it first, then, before they spend the money to design it and everything, then they'll do that second to the next step.
To answer your question, Mr. White, it's for overload for trucks and trailers. They need to park and can't park on site yet.
It's a fancy name for that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Any comments from Mr. Free?
Well, having all those trailers back there, the weight limit of that parking area withstand the 85,000 pound weight?
Currently, we're still working through the civil design of it. I can't exactly answer that question right now, I'm sorry.
It will need to, in order, if one of those trailers catch on fire, it's got to go back to,
Oh, yes, sir.
so we'll have to understand that way.
He's got to come back through site plan review.
Yes,
So
yes.
we'll get to check it at that point.
Okay.
Good comment.
Any other comments from the commissioners? On the application, all in favor? No, please call the roll.
Banks,
Yes.
Belasco,
Yes.
Chambers,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Phillips, Wallace,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Chairman Clifton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is item number 7, conditional use 22-07 to allow an electric fence within an I-2 zone located at 8700 Highway 70. That's the old auto auction out on Highway 70, and staff has been informed that he has been delayed due to air travel. So would staff like to present this?
Yes. Okay, maybe.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Give us your name, please.
The person from the electric fence company isn't here, so I'll try to do my best to answer the questions like last time as well. Probably can't answer them.
What was your name?
Give us your name.
Sheldon Jones.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone have any questions of Mr. Groom on this? Mr. Chambers?
Are you representing the owner or the or the electric fence company?
I'm representing the auto auction, not the electric fence company.
I'm just saying the auto
Yes.
auction, okay. So you're, okay, got it.
Chairman Clifton, I could give a little background if I could on this.
Yes,
So this will be the sixth one that's come through from the same company, so it's exactly the same as the other six. So they're going to meet all the requirements. They help write the requirements. So, I mean, there are no issues at all. They'll come back through and get a building permit and that type of stuff, but it's the exact same process and fence and everything that we've approved 5 other times.
Okay.
You know, it still has to go to city council for their final approval.
Has there ever been any opposition on any of the other applications?
There was actually opposition when we were originally writing the ordinance because no one knew about it. And then once they had a chance to explain that, you know, it's not a real high voltage and it's not going to hurt somebody if they fall into it or something.
Yeah.
You'll know it if you fell into it, but it's not going to really hurt you. But, you know, once they explained all that, everybody seemed to be better with it than, you know, thinking of the old cow, you know, the electric fence for the cows. It's not that type.
Okay, good. Any comments from anyone in the audience? Any comments from any of the commissioners? On the application, would you please call the roll?
Banks?
Yes.
Belasco?
Yes.
Chambers?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Phillips? Wallace?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Chairman Clifton?
Yes. Your application was approved. See Mr. Spencer, and he can tell you where to go next. Item number 8, conditional use 22-8 to allow a daycare center in a C3 zone at 1724 Pike Avenue. Would the applicant please come up? There were some questions held over from the site plan review committee that was addressed before the meeting today, and I think all those issues have been resolved. Were you understanding of everything that was spoken of today?
Yes, sir.
You agree with all that?
Yes, sir.
Any other comments, Mr. Chambers?
No, Mr. Chairman, I'm confident that staff can render our decision into something that the city council can use.
Okay. Any comments from anyone in the audience on this application? Any comments from any of the commissioners? On the application, please call the roll.
Banks? Yes. Belasco?
Yes.
Chambers?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Phillips? Yes. Wallace?
Yes.
White? Yes. Chairman Clifton?
Yes. Your application was approved. See Mr. Spencer, and he can tell you where to go next.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 9 has been withdrawn. Item number 10 is a special use case number 22-05 to allow assisted living facility for 3 persons at 720 North Pine Street. Is the applicant here? Please come up and give us your name.
Patricia and Andre Elliott.
Okay? This has been before the committee before, and it was postponed over to this meeting.
It was a different one. So the one that we reviewed a couple months ago was from the VA
Yes.
for veterans. So this one will be supervised by DHS. Is that correct? Yeah. And so that will be the governing body. The one we heard before was the VA was the governing body on it.
Okay.
Same type of request, but different.
It's a new request then
Yeah,
from what
yeah.
we had looked at. Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Has anyone called in any comments? No calls at all. Have you received a copy of the conditions for this to consider? Do you agree with those?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Chambers?
For the city attorney, this falls also under fair housing?
It should. I didn't look it up before I came over here, but it would depend on what they're in assisted living for. I think their application has said that they are unable to physically care for themselves, so they would have some protection, either FHA or ADA.
Okay.
Any other comments from any commissioners? On the application, please call the roll.
Banks?
Yes.
Belasco?
Yes.
Chambers?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Phillips? Wallace?
Yes.
White? Chairman Clifton?
Yes. Your application was approved. See Mr. Spencer, and he can tell you where to go next. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is item number 11, special use 22-06 to allow a residential and a commercial business within a C3 zone at 4121 John F. Kennedy Boulevard. Is the applicant, yes, please come up and give us your name.
My name is Dennis Lee, sir, and this is my sister, Nu Lee.
Yes, and you operate a business, what is the business name?
My nail salon and spa. I have a nail salon located in that address.
And you live in the same structure as your business?
Yes, sir. My brother and I bought this properties in 1999 from a doctor dentist. And he built that property just years ago, and he used it as his living house and also an office, a clinic for years. So the building already inside, already built with bathroom, living room, his office, kitchens already set up. So we purchased that building, and then we go in there, we started a new nail salon, and we live in there for 23 years totally, with my brother and me and my sister. And the reason about 6 years ago, and my mother is very old, so I also brought my mother in that building, lived there, nursing her until she passed. And now we live in that building since. And every year we have the board of cosmetologists, the health department, and also the fire department come over to inspect the property. They're very friendly, very nice, and nobody say anything. We even paid the trash picked up by the city, not by commercial, but trash. So we have been happily living in that house and worked there for years. So recently, the two inspector from the fire department come over and inspect the business, and he told me that, I know you live in here, right? And I told him, yes, sir. I don't deny that because I've been living there. That's my home. So say, I know that you put your mom in here because you don't want to put her in the nursing home. I say, that is correct. That's the last time of my last in life with my mom. And he said, can I see the thing? Can you see the house? I invited him go inside, surrounding the business. He looked, he okay. He asked me to put some a smoke detector in there. Yes, I did. And then he walked out, and he okay. A couple of days later, Captain Justin come over with one of his assistants, and he say, we received the email saying that you guys living in here. I said, yes. You might have to move out within a week because this is a commercial property. And I told him that, yes, sir, but we have lived here for 20 years. Right? We lived in Cicero, and he was surprised too. So I invite him to look around the property, go inside. He checked on the wire, the stay, and say, did I fix it? I say, the licensed contractor, licensed electrical. If I need it, you license people to use it. And he looked at it and say, well, you need to, he invited, say, I will comply with the law if you show me how. And he said, let's contact Donna and the planning department and asking for a permit, special use permit, right? And follow the direction. So I contact Donna and I came to see her. I wrote down, Donna asked me to write her a letter to explain. and I wrote her the letters. And then I said, you got a case. And I followed procedure, I paid the fee. I sent out all the notice to the property owners around it. And I'm waiting for your decision.
Okay, thank you. Mr. White?
I move for approval of this special use.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that this special use be approved. Is there anyone in the audience would like to speak on this application? Mr. Free with the fire department?
I just wanted to give a little background to clarify. So one of the other captains, one of the crews, we do go do annual inspections. So they went and did the inspection. They've been doing it for years. Like I said, got an email. I had no idea it was a residential place. Our concern was not knowing that it was a residential place to live or place of residence. 2 o'clock in the morning, there's a house fire. Our crews show up. They're expecting it to be an empty property that they're not thinking about search and rescue. They're thinking about fire suppression. So we just need to know if this gets approved. I'll need to know to get this out to the fire department that this is a home that people are living in. And there are some concerns about the layout of the house as far as bedrooms not having windows, means of egress. And so there's some things about the inside that need to be addressed as far as moving a bedroom to an exterior wall close to a door to where the kids aren't sleeping in the interior part of it, and we don't have access to them through a window or something. So there needs to be some kind of modifications done to the outside of the building. By no means are we wanting them to not live there and not have a place to live. We just need to know as first responders that once we get there, what it is that we're facing. So that was the sole purpose of this. And not being in zoning, I advised them to reach out to Sean and ask him, what is the process? Is what we're doing legal? I don't know. So I went over there with Mr. Green and we walked through and so that's the background on it. So just wanted to let everybody know what was going on there.
Thank you, Mr. Free.
I have to say. Yes, the property already prepared well for that requirement of the fire marshal there. The fire marshal already came and looked in the property and advised and showed me how to rearrange it. We already have 3 front doors, which is direct access to the outside. We also have the back door, which is not required to have 2 doors, but we did have the back door with direct access to the outside. We also have a door that separates the business area and the resident area already built there. So the fire marshal advised me, teach me that rearranging, bring the bedroom to the front side, change the lock, and then you have the door directly to the outside, which is, thank you so much, so it don't cost me much to open the window. Also, yes, sir.
Have you made these changes and improvements since the fire department or fire marshal has come and made you
Yes,
aware
I
of those?
installed the fire smoke detector. I make the changing of the bathroom to make sure. I even installed a extra fire extinguisher in the resident area and lock the door. The last meeting, I didn't understand what's going on, so I asked that if I do have to change, make a modification or create a petition, do I require a permit? And yes, I was told that I required to have a permit. Everything that I touch in the structure, yes, I will agree with that. If I do have to modify the structure to make the living more convenient, yes, I will apply for the permit.
Okay.
And right now, I'm pretty much set. All the electrical is, yes, I can operate it.
Okay.
It's not the major
Thank you.
part.
Mr.
You're
White, or Mr. Chambers?
Just a point of clarification, Mr. White, you were moving for approval with the attached conditions?
Right.
And, Mr. Chairman, would you ask the applicant if they agree to the conditions?
Have you received a copy of the conditions? That,
Yes, yes, I do receive the email, the copy of the condition.
And do you approve of those?
I agree that, yes, I
Okay.
approve, I agree.
Okay, any other comments from anyone in the audience? Any comments from any of the commissioners on the application? Please call the roll.
Banks?
Yes.
Belasco?
Yes.
Chambers?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Wallace?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Chairman Clifton?
Yes. The application was approved here. See Mr. Spencer, and he can tell you.
Yes, sir.
Chairman
Thank you
Clifton, if
very
I
much.
could say something real quick.
Mr.
Yeah.
Spencer?
So your next step is to go to get city council. So this is not the end here. So you got one more step.
Yes, sir.
Go to city council and they'll have to vote on it and approve it.
Yes, sir.
And then once that's done, you'll get with the fire marshal and the building inspector, and they'll decide what has to be changed and everything at that time. So don't start doing anything yet. Wait till the city council votes on it, and then get with the fire marshal and the building inspector, and they'll meet with you on the site and sort of tell you what you need to do.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
I have a public comment.
Public comment, yes, sir.
Recently, I had a fire, and the fire department was unbelievable. It wasn't a bad fire, it was fire protecting the Lakewood number 7 came. They got there quick. They got my wife non-panicked. They showed my daughter, who had a fire extinguisher, that she was putting out the wrong fire, that it was up there. But I want just a big shout out for how professional and how nice everybody was, because I wasn't in town at the time. But it was unbelievable how great y'all were. And then you showed my grandson how to do the horn on the fire truck. All the police were there, all the fire department, according to my son, all my neighbors were there too. But thank you very much.
Any other comments? I hear a motion.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Thank you.
I like